Hello and welcome to a very bewildered me. I've just been to the gym and I've sat down and just gone, I've turned into a complete and utter zombie version of myself. I asked on Twitter what kind of things you guys would like to see in the last of 3 Cheers for New Year's, because we've got 11 days left, 11 days left. And Evie Bell Baker suggested doing a theatre performing industry type Q&A, and I really like that idea. So here we go. What's the difference with having an agent and not? Is there more a chance of getting an audition? Yes, usually if you don't have an agent, you aren't able to get an audition unless it's what they call an open audition, which means anyone can go, it's open to the public. Usually casting directors send out breakdowns of characters to agents, and those agents then figure out which of their clients fit those breakdowns and then send those clients for the auditions. And it's very, very rare that musicals especially do open auditions. Every now and again, they'll put out a public call, but usually you can only really get auditions for musicals in the West End or on tour through agents. So it's easier to get auditions if you have an agent. It's not impossible without one, but it's far, far easier with one. What characters would you love to play but know you will never be able to due to race, age, gender, etc.? I'll pick one for each, race, age and gender. So race, Nala from The Lion King. She has the best song in any musical theatre show, which is called Shadowlands. For those of you that haven't heard it, listen to it immediately. It's unbelievable, it's so good. But clearly, I am really, really white, so I could never play that part. Age, Matilda. I wish Matilda had been around when I was a child. I would have loved to have auditioned for that part. And Andras has always been my answer to the question, what male character would you love to play one day? I just want to hang upside down off that barricade. I never got to have a go at that when I was in Les Mis, and such a shame. Can you give any tips on how to learn lines? As a drama student, I'd find this so helpful because I'm the worst at it and would love to know what you do. I am one of those really annoying people that finds learning lines quite easy. I think because I've been in musical theatre my entire life and I've always been put in situations where I've had to retain information quite quickly, my brain's just attuned to that now. But I've always thought it's really important to figure out your cue lines, like which lines come before your lines, because obviously you're having a conversation with someone and usually the things that you're saying are as a reaction to what someone else is saying. So usually there's something in someone else's line that will give you a clue to what you're about to say. Do you ever get bored of singing the same songs every day, or does it feel different with every crowd? I'm a perfectionist, so if something doesn't go quite right in a performance, or I feel like I could have done better, or I feel like I want to try something new, because what I've been doing previously hasn't really been floating my boat, I love having the opportunity to do the show over and over again so I can really define and perfect exactly what I'm doing every night. I got to do Les Mis 959 times to get that show perfect. Do you ever have those days where you think you're not as good as other people in the industry / you don't deserve to be in a show, and how do you deal with it? I feel like this every day when I'm in a show. Because I didn't go to drama school and I'm usually put into a big group of people who all have been to drama school and they have all trained to be there. So I feel like I have to prove myself and prove my place within the cast every single day, which is hard. How awkward are onstage kisses? The first kiss that you have to do with someone in a rehearsal room is always really awkward. The story that I always tell is me and Oliver Ormson, because we had to kiss each other before we'd even hugged. Day 3 of rehearsals and they were like, okay, kiss. And we were like, I barely know you. This is really strange. So the first one is always going to be really weird. But once the first one's out of the way, you're like, okay, well, this is just the job now. But I've been really lucky with this because everyone that I've had to kiss or be close to and be intimate with in shows are ridiculously lovely people, and they're gorgeous. They're all wonderful to look at. I mean, seriously, look at them. This and this. It's disgusting. Beautiful human beings. So, you know, it's a really hard life. It's really difficult to have to be intimate with all these gorgeous boys. Did you ever get treated worse in the industry because you were a woman? I can only speak from my experience here, and I have never felt lesser because I am a woman. I've always found musical theatre and the theatre industry to be a very accepting and liberal and friendly place, because when you've got shows like Kinky Boots, which is all about accepting yourself as much as it is about accepting everyone else, everybody's talking about Jamie, and shows that cast a whole variety of different people like Lion King and Hamilton and Book of Mormon and Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, and the whole musical theatre world is bursting at the seams with people of every race, gender, sexuality, you name it. And so there kind of isn't really any room to discriminate. Obviously, as the saying goes, there's always one. You know, there might be a select few who are a bit more closed-minded than everyone else, but I have yet to encounter them, and I've always found musical theatre to be a very, very accepting place, which I'm hugely grateful for. How do you deal with your unusual working times? Deal with? I wouldn't say deal with. I just try my hardest not to die. You know, you come home from a show at like 11, half 11, and then you don't really wind down until like half 1, 2, and then you don't really want to get up until like 11, midday, and then you get those people who are like, hey, how about we go for breakfast at 9? And I'm like, no. Any tips on keeping your voice in perfect shape to perform night after night? Sleep. Sleep is so underrated. I didn't realise the power of a good night's sleep until I would do a show and stay up really late and then get up really early and then wake up the next morning sounding like Jabba the Hutt. Sleep. Get 8 hours. Do it. And water. Pints and pints of water. Performing can be quite an emotional job. Does it help deal with your own emotions, and is it kind of therapeutic for you, or do your emotions make it harder for you to get in character sometimes? If you're having a really bad day and you're playing a character like Eponine, where she's like feisty and like gruff and gets to like sing, shout at people, then that's wonderful. Same with Wednesday, actually. There was a bit in Full Disclosure at the end of Act 1 where I'd have to like sing, shout, stop! And if I was having a bad day, I would just take the opportunity to just let out all my rage at that point. But then sometimes if you're having like a really bad day, it is really hard to focus, but that's the job. So you got to do it. And finally, what shows would you recommend in London? Me and my friends are thinking of seeing one, but there's too much to choose from. There are your staple favourites like Les Mis and Phantom of the Opera. Their tickets aren't hugely expensive. Then there's your more expensive shows like Harry Potter and the Cursed Child and Book of Mormon. They are very, very expensive, but they are incredible shows. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child is the best piece of theatre I've ever seen in my entire life. But what kind of friend would I be if I didn't promote the show my friends are in? Scott Page, Jacob Fisher, Cameron Blakely, Daniel Buckley and Alex Tranter are all in a show called Eugenius, which opens on Monday night at the Other Palace. I highly recommend that you go and see it. I will put the link to tickets below this video. That is all from me for today, so thank you for joining me, and don't forget to donate. We are raising money for WWF, Copperfield and Girl Guiding. The link to donate is below, and you could potentially win lots of lovely prizes. So go donate, love you lots, see you later, bye.